Hello and welcome back to the Business of Happiness podcast. Hi, woman dentist. I'm Dr. Tarryn MacCarthy, and today we're talking about hard things. I know you can do hard things. Thank you, Glennon Doyle, for coining that phrase. And if there's anyone in the world that can do hard things, it's you. It's what got you to where you are. But today we're talking about making it easy. You know, I think for most of our lives, we've identified with the capability of doing hard things. You got through dental school. You got through financial stress. You got through so many incredible challenges, maybe some really challenging moments in your family life, maybe in your childhood. There's no question that you can do hard things. I mean, so many of you are marathon runners, triathletes, literally doing things that other women couldn't even imagine doing. You're doing amazing, incredible, hard things every day. And today I want to tell you, it doesn't all have to be hard. In fact, we get to do more incredible things with our lives with a greater sense of fulfillment and happiness, greater impact on the people we serve, greater impact in our communities and in our families when we choose to make it easy. Today we're talking about ease. This badge of honor that you've been wearing for a very long time for doing the hard things, it's not serving you anymore. It got you really far, but it's no longer serving you. And is it time in your life to choose ease? In my practice, I was remembering the other day, we did this really cool thing. We had a Christmas marketplace. I know we're in the spring right now, and I'm talking about Christmas. I was just remembering this time. It was such a great marketing idea. Our practice was new. It was a startup practice in the community. We were really focusing on empowerment of women, so supporting women-owned businesses in the community because guess what? Those are moms, right? And what a great way to grow the practice with like-minded women with similarly aligned values. We just loved attracting those women and their families and their kids to our practice. So I had this great idea of having a Christmas marketplace where in our beautiful practice that I'd spent so much time designing, it really felt lovely to walk in there, very spacious and open. We set up these little booths and welcomed small women-owned businesses. We had a bra fitting in the new patient exam room, which was awesome. These really beautiful bras, this luxury lingerie brand, women-owned business, and they were doing bra fittings. We had a jewelry woman selling beautiful jewelry. We had another woman selling children's books that she'd written. We had someone selling mittens she'd knitted, these beautifully knitted mittens. So the whole practice was full of these women-owned businesses, and you could come to the office and do your Christmas shopping, which was so fun. It was such a great event. It was enormously successful, such a great hit. We kept being asked to do it again and again. And what I was remembering about this beautiful event, which was fueling me, and I loved putting together my whole heart, it was so aligned with what I love to do around women's empowerment. And what I was remembering is how hard I made it for myself. The areas that we make things hard in are expectations that we think other people hold and perfectionism. And going over the top, there's a line between enjoying it and then making it so hard and difficult that it becomes such a drudgery and such a task. And we're so good at doing the hard things. But let me tell you, I went over the top with the announcements, with the promoting, with the making sure every woman had what she needed, every woman who had a booth, making sure they were well represented, making sure they were well acknowledged. I mean, I went over and above. I made it so stressful for myself that energetically I was showing up completely depleted and exhausted, and also with this energetic air at the marketplace of stress, trying to hold it all together, trying to make it really perfect, running around, kind of bossing people around. I was looking back on it now that I really did that. I was trying to micromanage every component of it. I wanted a little welcome bag at the front. And when the bags arrived, they weren't good enough. I made everything hard. I took it on myself. I ordered it all myself instead of delegating. I'm getting exhausted just remembering that moment. And I wonder if it's making you remember something that you over-efforted and made hard for no reason. The idea was phenomenal. The event was spectacular. I mean, it served great purpose. It was really beautiful, and the outcome was fabulous. But I made it so hard. I made it so overwhelming. And it's fascinating how we get into this practice, especially high-achieving women who have achieved a lot, who are very intelligent, who have great dreams, great ambitions. We tend to make everything hard. I was remembering another moment, actually several of these, where my husband and I went away on vacation for a couple days, and my mom was looking after the kids. And boy, did I make that hard. I mean, I printed out color-coded itineraries with each kid in a certain color and printed out copies of their health insurance cards and all the contact information of their dentist and their guidance counselor at school and their teacher's name and their best friends and their best friends' mothers. I made it so hard and overwhelming and stressful. And really, it's counterproductive. We think that the perfectionist component will alleviate a certain sense of stress or will make it easier, but all that hard does is make it hard. It doesn't make it easier, it just makes it more difficult. And I'd love for us to just entertain this idea of how can I make it easy? And not with the intent of sitting back on a couch and eating bonbons every day. And I think that's what we're afraid of. A part of our psyche is afraid of, if I don't make it hard, am I just going to slack off to such an extent that nothing gets done? And that's just not the truth. It's a fear that your mind is creating for you because it knows no different. You've made it hard your whole life. You've made it intense your whole life. You've made it complicated your whole life. And I'm inviting you for a moment to just take a breath and exhale. Let's do one more of those wherever you are listening to this podcast. If you're able to close your eyes and just breathe in as deeply as you possibly can from your diaphragm and holding it at the top, and now slowly exhale. And let's do one more deep breath in. You can do this even while you're driving. Just don't close your eyes and hold it at the top and slowly exhale. Just feel the peace and the calm in your body. And imagine making decisions from this place. How much more intentional, how much more aligned and focused are your decisions when you make them from a place of calm, from a place of ease? See, delegating as a business owner is not just to get more shit done. It's not just to spread out the tasks so that everybody's functioning at a higher level. No, it's energetically making it easier, pressing the easy button. Remember that easy button from Staples? How many times in your life can you give yourself permission to press the ease button? And I mean in all aspects. In the last episode, we talked about this finite number of energy packets, decision-making packets that you have during the day. And so when we ask ourselves, how can I make self-care easy? It's recognizing, oh my gosh, if I make decisions about my self-care first before I make decisions for everyone else, like my patients and my team and my practice and my family, it's actually easier because I have more energy to make aligned, conscious choice. So it's a really fascinating conversation. How can I make it easy? Sometimes we think, if I'm going to be creating a healthier food regime for my family, I have to study nutrition and I have to buy more equipment and I have to make these complicated menus. And really, the way for greater success, the way to get there sooner, faster, is to make it easier. How can I just simplify the process? It's not how can I overcomplicate it. When we choose simplification, we actually see greater success. So how can you make things easier on yourself? And another component of ease is not putting so much pressure on yourself with urgency and expectation. We tend to create these enormous goals for ourselves, which are beautiful. I am a big goal-setting proponent. Reach for the stars, please, because that is our purpose here on earth, is to reach for big, beautiful things, big impact, big opportunity, full lives. Absolutely. But give yourself enormous grace to go slowly, to not build Rome in a day, to give yourself permission to make small changes from a place of conscious intention and energy. Feeling proud of yourself. How can I make it easy? Well, one big way is to feed yourself support. One enormously effective way to add ease is to celebrate yourself, is to listen to the language you're using with yourself. And instead of beating yourself up for not being far enough along, give yourself enormous recognition, compassion, and love. Love is the easiest thing. I mean, honestly, when I go through my day and I've come across a really big project or challenge or something that feels scary to approach, whether it's reaching out to a referring dentist or reaching out to a patient when there's been a mistake, something that's really activating to my system. The first thing I ask myself, first, I calm my body down with those breaths, those 3 deep breaths, and I close my eyes so as to block out the visual stimulation and literally give my parasympathetic nervous system a chance to step back in and calm, because I know from that space I can access executive function, conscious creative decision-making and choice, instead of from a place of fight or flight. Following? I hope so. And then I ask myself, how could I make this easy? What do I need? What would help me make this phone call easier? I mean, one thing is maybe just giving yourself more love, giving yourself more recognition, listening to how you speak to yourself. Tarryn, you've got this. You can make a phone call. You've made many of them before. I can make it easy by just recognizing that this is a phone call with another human being. That's all. This is a conversation. I've had many conversations in my life. Making it easy for yourself is the how of doing hard things, doing big things. Let's take that beautiful triathlon that maybe you're training for as a metaphor. The triathlon is hard. That's a big deal thing. But you don't get to it by pushing yourself. Well, you can, but it's not fun. And maybe you'll not accomplish it. Maybe you'll injure yourself along the way. Maybe you'll exhaust yourself along the way. The way to get there is by making it easy. So for me, the way I ran triathlons was I found accountability partners. I found a group. That made it easy. I was excited to see them. I was excited to put my wetsuit on and show up at the lake to do the open water swim because I had friends. It made it easier. Yes, we can do hard things, but not from a place of starting from hard. We do hard things by making it easier. We accomplish big things. We grow big businesses by asking ourselves, how can I do this with ease? So for all my mamas out there, my mom dentists, my mom business owners, how can I make it easy? I find support. And in my life, what that looked like was finding a backup for a backup. That was the best advice my mentor ever gave me at the time. Be sure that you get a backup for a backup. I had 2 nannies. I had a morning nanny and an afternoon nanny. And it was brilliant because we nanny shared with 2 other families. So if one nanny got sick, guess what? I had a backup. It's brilliant. A backup for a backup. How can I do this with ease? So I leave this with you today of just changing your mindset a little bit because we love that beautiful phrase Glennon Doyle gifted us, which is, I can do hard things. And the truth is you can. But I want to ask you today, do you want to? And is it better for you? Is it better in the outcome if you're making everything hard? And what would it look like to add ease? So maybe in every choice you make in your life, you ask yourself, how can I make this more ease-filled? Sometimes we have a little bit of an issue with the word easy. I think our egos don't like to think that we default to easy, but maybe the word ease can sit with you a little bit better. How can I do this with ease? So instead of an easy button, maybe an ease button. Who can I ask for support here? There's that great book called The Who, Not the How, right? Not how can I do this, but who can I ask for help? Who can I delegate to? Who can I reach out to? Who can I ask? Who can I use as a support? That feels easeful, is reaching out for help and support. And then paying attention to the language that you're using, because when you're berating yourself and using language that's harsh and angry and disciplinary and disappointed and threatening, nothing feels easy, ever. It makes it so much more difficult. How can I grow my practice with ease? I mean, that feels like a greater, more empowering question instead of how can I do the really hard thing of growing my practice? How can I earn more money with ease? Oh, so much lighter, less stressful. And what we're talking about is fueling yourself energetically, because really that's what it all comes down to, is the energy behind it, the energy behind the approach. And our patients feel that. When they feel, oh my God, this is really hard, this is really difficult, that's overwhelming. We think it adds value. We tell ourselves that if I tell you this is a really hard treatment plan, you're going to really have to pay a lot of money for it. We think it justifies, but actually it's the opposite. It's when we give our patients an environment of ease and say, I've got you. I'm so good at this that this is easy for me. You've come to the right place. I'm going to take care of you with ease and confidence and full support. That's where the value is. I don't want to have a dentist working on me who's sweating it out, making it hard, doing the hardest thing they've ever done. I want somebody who, this is their bread and butter. This is easy. We've got you. That's the person I'm paying higher value to. I offer you to just bring that also in your personal life, whatever it is you desire. Maybe you just switch your language and ask yourself that question as you go forward. And just notice in your body how that feels energetically. And pay attention to your body. When it feels hard, you get to just take a moment and give it some love, give it some breath, give it some peace. And notice the shift, not just in your energy level, but the quality of the decision-making and the choices that come subsequently. So I've got something that is full of ease for you. And I know you're going to know that I'm going to bring this up, the Empower Her Retreat. So one of the things that I noticed is I had been practicing hard for so long that choosing ease did not come naturally to me. It was very uncomfortable to choose ease. It was very uncomfortable to ask for help. It was very uncomfortable to take care of myself. It was very uncomfortable to not threaten myself intellectually and with the voices in my head, to love myself. I didn't know how. That's what the Empower Her Retreat is all about, because the truth is we don't get there with hard. We get there with ease. So at the Empower Her Retreat, women dentists only, just a very small group, we're focusing on how to discover ease in your body, in your psyche, in your actions, in your mindset, so that you can accomplish more, so you can do more from a place of greater fulfillment and ease, because that's the key. Because nothing feels good sustainably when it's really hard. Yes, there are times when we need tension, for sure. Tension is a beautiful, beautiful thing because it's what fuels change. right? The discomfort of something makes you realize, I really need to change this thing. If it felt too easy and comfortable all the time, we'd never shift and grow. So there's a beautiful place for that. But everything doesn't have to be hard. And that is what we're understanding at the Empower Her retreat, which is when to step on the gas and when to ease off. Because what I care so passionately about is empowering women in dentistry to love themselves, to take care of themselves, because you deserve that. Because I've been there. And what I noticed is when I shifted my perspective on what I deserved as a woman, as a leader, as a healthcare provider, as a mom, everyone else benefited. I told myself for so long that it was my hard work, my discipline, my willingness to do the hard things that people were benefiting from, and I was wrong. It was when I chose ease that people truly benefit in a whole nother way, in a whole nother level. Yes, what you're doing is amazing. You're achieving great things. And the way you've been doing hard things up until now was enormously successful. It got you to where you are. But your next level of success requires next level you. And that is who we're uncovering at the Empower Her retreat. So maybe you've heard me talking about this retreat and maybe you've been interested. I'm going to offer you a very easeful next step. Let's just hop on a call and see if this is right for you. You can find out the information in the show notes or go to empowerherretreat.org and check it out and let's get on a call. Maybe this is for you and maybe it isn't. But let me tell you, it will change your life, because what I know to be true is when you feel good, when you feel that sense of confidence and ease and self-trust, that is when you can do good. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to the Business of Happiness podcast. If this episode brought you new perspective and value, I invite you to subscribe so that you catch all upcoming episodes and leave us a review. And if you know of a friend or colleague who could benefit from this perspective, share this episode with them and empower their day. For more information about the Business of Happiness and the Radical Happiness for Practitioners course, find me on www.thebizofhappiness.com. See you there.